Hi everyone, Kate Dorsey here. Happy Valentine's Day. I wanted to connect it with you guys about something, and I'm just gonna momentarily share this because I would love for people to get to see this because you guys are not gonna believe this. I literally woke up so freaking happy today. And bear in mind that I've been on here crying recently, and ultimately, I shared yesterday that I ended up breaking up with my boyfriend. We broke up on Tuesday, and y'all, I am so happy. I literally woke up feeling incredible this morning and feeling like, okay, I'm back. I feel like myself. And so I want to share with you guys what I did to shift this, how I stepped out of how I was feeling, how I allowed myself the space to grieve. Sorry, I'm still figuring out how to share this video. Oh, good, I did it. It's apparently really easy. It's just my technical skills. So what I want you guys to know is that, one, the entire reason I broke up with him is because we weren't in alignment. It was enough for him, a recognition that where I fell on the priority list was ultimately 5 or 6, and where he fell on my priority list was a 1. So it's you're just asking for a difference. And so ultimately, I allowed myself to feel, to just let it out, to let it rip. And so often we have this story that we tell ourselves where it's not okay to cry, or stuff it down, or I don't want to feel this. You guys, let it freaking rip. Let it go. I was hysterical crying while driving, hysterical crying in the shower, playing music that was calling forth all these emotions and releasing. And what I want to share with you is, what if those tears are just you're releasing the old so that you can step into the new? It's amazing. So, and then I also am a very big fan of self-care. How you take care of yourself matters. And I treated myself yesterday to some really amazing self-care, and I gave myself the time and space. And you guys, I've been moving. I went for a run. I went to bar class today, but literally I woke up happy, happy. And I have to tell you guys, one of the reasons that I'm incredibly happy is because I'm so connected to my vision, and I'm incredibly vision driven and compelled. I feel compelled to move forward into what it is that I want and desire. So when you're in the middle of a heartbreak, and this isn't about being needy, guys, this is about being crystal freaking clear on what you want. When you're in the middle of a heartbreak, but you know that you will have epic love, that when your heart is ready, you will step back out there. You're okay. It's all so okay. And you can't help but move forward. It's almost like I hit the fast forward button on the grieving process, because I was just let's go all in. I mean, you guys, I think I literally cried for 24 hours straight. It was just ridiculous. And then the other thing that I think is really, really important is, what are the thoughts that you're telling yourself as you're doing that? So ultimately, I was telling myself, I'm never going to talk to him again. So cut, as in it's dead. And I realized, and this is vulnerable, that doesn't help me. So pretending that he never existed, pretending that he wasn't a part of my life, doesn't help me. The reason I said no communication is because I knew that would hold me back from moving forward, which is not being in my vision. And my vision is what is really compelling me forward. I know that I will have that epic love, and it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be perfect for me because I declared it so loudly and boldly. I literally have been saying it for the past week as I imagined having a conversation with him. And then I realized it's not even about him over here. It's really about, what is this conversation that I'm having between me and what I want and desire. I'm so clear. I've never been more clear in my life. And it's a lot about allowing yourself to move through it, to not judging yourself, and to changing the stories that you're telling yourself. So my point in sharing that was that it didn't help me. It didn't serve me. It dampened me. And ultimately, of course I could have a friendship at some point in the future. Not, you guys, not that thing that we tell ourselves where we're it's going to work out and maybe he'll come back in. No, we're done. Cut that. It's this point where it's okay, it's possible to be friends or loosely friendshipy in the future at some point. And honestly, that feels better, because when I'm telling myself, oh my God, I'm never going to talk to you ever again for the rest of my life, I'm not feeling so good. So check your thoughts. What are you telling yourself when you're in the middle of a heartbreak? Are you saying like you're never going to love again? You will. You totally will when your heart is ready. And great love is possible. So like, what are you telling yourself? So you're in the middle of a heartbreak, you're crying. You know me, I love to cry on my floor, but my bed is so low to the ground right now that like I can just hurl myself into bed. And I did not limit myself to the floor or my bed. Cried everywhere, guys. Cried everywhere. I think I even cried in a frozen yogurt shop. So like, oops. I'm pretty sure I cried last night in Trader Joe's. I was like walking around, like picking up, it's one of my good friend's birthdays today. I was like picking up stuff and I'm like, let it out. So essentially what I'm saying is get really clear on what you want. So if you're in the middle of suffering, if you're in the middle of not feeling good, get super, super clear on what you want, because it will pull you forward. And it's not the fantasy of, I want them to take me back. Do not let your brain do that. Like I literally had a conversation with my brain where I was like, check it. We're not doing that. Because it was creating fantasies of like, well, maybe he'll come back around and want me. No, I don't want him. Like, I don't want him. Like, I wasn't a priority. I kept trying to make it work. And no, I get my value. You guys, I get my value. Get your value. Recognize how amazing you are. Know that everything that happens in your life, it's happening for a reason. I trust. I absolutely trust that there is a great, epic, wonderful relationship out there for me, and it will arrive at the perfect time for me. When my heart is ready to receive that love, it will absolutely be there for me. Right now, my heart just feels like, oh my God, I feel great. And like, I can't even tell you guys, because like literally this happened Tuesday. It's Thursday and it's Valentine's Day. Talk about like the single person's worst nightmare of a day, right? Where you're like, no, like love is everywhere except for me. And like, oh my God, everyone's getting like, okay, you guys, the only Valentine's Day card I got this year is from my uncle. Thank God my uncle loves me enough to send me one. We actually have in my family, we had a Valentine's Day fairy. Nobody else had that, that I know of, but it was just funny because I was like, wait, you guys didn't have Valentine's Day fairy? So the day I found out Santa wasn't real was a crushing day in my life. And it's also the day I realized that the Valentine's Day fairy, who nobody else had, wasn't real. The Easter Bunny wasn't real, like all of it. So I kind of digress, but like, it is really funny because in my family, the Valentine's Day fairy just kind of disappeared and nobody talked about it. My mom later went on to jokingly say she went to prison, developed a heroin problem, and then overdosed. Sadly, the Valentine's Day fairy died. She has never returned. So sad. Sharon, I love you. Santa's not real. I'm so sorry. Hey, if anyone has kids around, I'm so sorry. So essentially, it's amazing what can happen for you when you allow yourself to just intensely feel. Like, you guys, I was like listening to The Greatest Showman, Never Enough, and like bawling my eyes out. And like, again, this is Valentine's Day. And you know what? I'm focused on how great I feel, how wonderful it is, that I know and trust that everything in my life is unfolding, that I get to have that really incredible love. And that the other amazing thing is my roommate was like, hey, let's all do dinner together. And it's a friend's birthday. So like, I have incredible plans and I'm excited and I boohooed a lot. And even if I have more, I'll release it. So change your dialogue about what crying means. Change your dialogue entirely. When you're crying and you're making it worse and you're like spiraling out, which I actually call a shit spiral, when you're spiraling really far down, ask yourself, what are you telling yourself? Because you might actually be making it worse, because it dawned on me saying I would never talk to him again would make it so much worse. I know, Helen, right? My mom is freaking hysterical. Such a funny woman. She had the Valentine's fairy overdosed from heroin. She had quite the problem. So, which is actually not a laughing matter because it's actually really serious in our country, but there is no Valentine's Day fairy. So on what feels like National Singles Awareness Day, that day every single person knows that they're single. We all know it, you know. I mean, even one of my girlfriends, Melanie, was like, ignore this holiday. It's like the most commercialized thing ever. And I'm like, I'm okay. I was literally like, thank you so much for thinking of me. The other thing is that I feel incredibly surrounded by love and support. So it's ultimately like, how can you shift your attention and what are you putting your attention on? Like where's your focus? And my focus has been on allow myself to just move through it, move my body, take care of myself, give myself what it needs. And then, you guys, the entire reason I broke up with him is because it wasn't in alignment. And like I shared in the previous video, I have never done that in my entire life. I literally have never gotten my value up until recently, like really recently. I think probably that Monday last week is when I finally came crashing in, where I was like, wow, why do you take scraps? Why would you ever do that to yourself? And like, I'm not anymore. And that feels really good. So how I got happy, I let it rip. I let it rip. I mean, even my roommate last night was like, you're doing like a lot of crying. And ultimately, thank God I did. Like, way to let it go. Like, I can't even tell you guys, I remember like one of my last heartbreaks. It took months for me to feel how I feel today. It dragged on for so long. And y'all, like, please understand, like, I did love him. Like, this isn't like, you know, like I did. I genuinely cared for him, and very deeply. And it wasn't easy, but let yourself feel it. Allow yourself to connect with what is it that you want to experience? What would light you up? Not just like, oh, I want to feel better because I'm hurting, but like, what do you really want in your life? What would excite you to create? What would be so meaningful and so impactful for you? Because that is what I'm deeply connected to. Not just in my love life, but also in my business, and in across the board. And so like, what else is on my radar? I'm also thinking of like, what do I want to do that's fun? So improv classes, totally signing up, definitely taking sailing lessons through Groupon, although it's really rainy in San Diego and I had no idea it would be so rainy. Yeah, so, and then aerial yoga. So my point in all of that is that ultimately I am very focused on what are the things that fill me with joy. So you want to shift out of heartbreak. What are the things that fill you with joy? John, why did I break up with Eric? I broke up with him because it wasn't fulfilling. It wasn't what I wanted. I was not a top priority. Really great man, but ultimately we weren't a match. And I refused to settle. And I want a man who picks me up from the airport. You guys, I'm going to end up with like a chauffeur or something. Just kidding. It's like constantly like picking me up from the airport. Apparently I envision traveling a lot, which I do. Actually, I love traveling. So that is where I'm at. So essentially this is really, thank you, Jan. I really appreciate that. Yeah, they do. They absolutely allow the fertile ground of your vision to grow. So your vision is really important. I teach a lot of practices around this. I absolutely love being connected to my vision, and it's what compels you forward and carries you forward even through difficult times. It's what had me go all in grieving, like in a way that I don't think I've ever done that before. So like instead of pushing it down, pushing it away, moping through the day, I just like let it freaking rip. So you guys, for those of you all in heartbreak, let it rip, let it out. What do you really want to experience? What are the things that you're telling yourself? And move it forward, because you don't have to suffer. Like, you really don't have to suffer. And I always say this, like, grief is a reflection of the love that you had for that person. So ultimately I cared deeply for him, and it wasn't working. And I boldly declared what I want, which is so awesome. So like I said, super, super connected to my desires and to what I'm creating, filling my plate full of things that bring me joy. So making plans with people. So like, y'all, if you're not happy, what makes you happy? Like, just think about it. Like, make a list of the things that make you happy and pick from that list. I suddenly just realized I will also be rock climbing. Not outside though, because I've never done it, but like, I really want to do it. So why not? So Groupon's a great place for ideas and for the things that you want to experience, and like, do the things that bring you joy, that make you feel happy, that bring love in. Allow yourself to feel and to grieve. Stop judging yourself for crying or for, and check your thoughts. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, because like, seriously, the things you say to yourself matter. And the things that I was saying to myself that were making my tears worse aren't true. I will absolutely be friends with him when I'm ready. And I will not be ready until I've actually moved on. And by moved on, I mean like I'm seeing other men. So why? Because I'm not going to re-engage that connection, and that it's not a fantasy because I know it wouldn't work. And so I don't even want it on my radar. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that's landing for y'all. So those are my tips. And this is what you can do, because literally I am happy on Valentine's Day and I'm single. I'm single. You don't have to feel badly about it, guys. Like, embrace it. It's amazing. It means you get to date. And I've also thought about like getting to have all those firsts again, and like how amazing it was. And like, I remember them with Eric. It was awesome. Like, it was so fun. And yeah, your vision compels you forward. So if you're suffering, if you're struggling, or if you're wanting to know how to shift, what do you want? Take that time. I do it in a letter that I read, and I've even voice memoed myself, so I like can listen to my charming voice, and like really move through, open up. Everything is possible. And it really is about choosing yourself, recognizing your value, stepping into it, allowing yourself to go through the pain and struggle. Like, I think I was suffering so much longer than I needed to let myself suffer. Like, and I suffered because I kept trying to make something work that wasn't working. So happy Valentine's Day from a super happy Kate Dorsey. What? And so much love to everyone. If you have any questions, or if you want to know more about my process and like how I really released the sadness and stepped into just feeling amazing and happy, let me know. Happy to share. All right. So much love, y'all.